Hello and welcome to Channels Book Club. I'm Olakunle Kasumo. I hope you are keeping safe. I hope you are protecting yourself, your family and your community as much as you can. This has been a very difficult time for the entire world and everybody is hoping and many are praying that this coronavirus challenge will go away. But hey, it's a good time to also do so many positive things, and one of them is to pick up a good book and read, like I always say. For those of us who have had a book on our shelves that we've always said we'll read, this is a good time to do that right now. The bookshops are closed, but the online bookshops are very much open. That is, if you do not want to pick any of those books you've always had in your library or on your bookshelf shop. Now you can read any of the books on diseases and plagues and so on. We've had a lot in human history. Some of them have devastated human history. How did they happen? How did the people of those times handle such things? How did the medical community handle, such experiences? So many things to learn from them. But if you don't want to do diseases and plagues and so on, you can have fun and entertainment and education by reading other books, and there's so many of them out there. So please go ahead and do that. We had a very interesting young woman on the show not too long ago, and if you have heard about autism, it's a very difficult experience for children and the parents who have children that experience autism. Very, very difficult. But this woman, Ugonna Sylvester-Ogan, had 3 children that experienced autism. It's a very excruciating experience for Ugonna, very difficult. She shared what she went through, what the children went through, and how they passed through it, and how they miraculously all got well. Enjoy this interview with Ugonna. We'll be right back. Ugo, thanks for coming on Channels Book Club. Nice to have you here.
Thank you, Kunle.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
You've written a book titled Defeating Autism. Let me first say that thank God for our politicians. Thank God for our sportsmen who hog all the spotlight. But I think people like you, are the real heroes of our world. You had 3 boys.
Yes.
Who experienced some levels of autism.
Yes.
That must have been tough. Well, your book, reading your book, gave me an insight into how difficult, that experience is.
Yeah.
So this book, Defeating Autism, is your story, your experience as a mother, having to raise boys like that. So, of course, the experience inspired you to write this book. So I'm not going to ask you what inspired this book.
Right, okay.
Yeah, but let's talk about autism first.
Okay.
There might be somebody out there who is not very familiar with what autism is about, so that we can use that as a context for our review of your book. Autism. What's autism?
Okay. From my own concept, I would say that autism is a condition, that's present in childhood, in the early childhood, and is characterized by, difficulty in communicating and expressing oneself, and also using language and abstract concepts in the child. And it's always creating difficulty for them to even form, relationship, with people around them.
So once a child, has autism, of course, autism then leads to a lot of other complex problems, really, like you just stated now.
Yes.
Relational issues.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a basic not being able to communicate. And it can be very frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could just hear like maybe one word, maybe in a week, and then the child is not expressing himself, so you can't even communicate.
So at what point did you notice your first son had autism?
Okay. Well, from my book, you would just know that I wasn't really conversant with autism.
You're not familiar with autism.
Autism,
as
yes.
At the time you became a mother.
Yes, yes. So when I found out, but I just knew that there was a problem. Like when you see him with other kids, he's not expressing himself, the way he's supposed to express. But at that time, I just knew, deep inside me, I knew there's something wrong.
You observed he was not very expressive. He couldn't
Yes, he
communicate.
wasn't. He couldn't communicate, and a lot of tantrums. Like you wouldn't know where it's coming from.
Yeah,
and
because
then,
of that frustration.
yes, and then when he goes to school, there's always like, you can't just go and pick your child. Normally bring him back home. There's always one complaint. From one complaint to another. He did this. He did that. He was hyperactive. He wasn't stable in class. He was outside playing while the studies were going on, and you just wonder, what is, happening to your child? So at that time, it just dawned on me that, even if, like, the teachers around, they don't know what autism was all about, so they just studied it.
Yeah, so
just
they
a
just
character.
just a character flaw.
Yeah.
And that led to all sorts of
issues.
They kept reporting him to you.
And he wouldn't say anything. A child can come back from school and he say, "Oh, auntie said this," maybe at the age of 5. And you're just like, you're calculating, doing all the expression for him, When you go to the school, you have to like ask, is there any homework around? What happened in class? Just asking around, being around your child.
I had a bit of an insight into your own experience as a mother.
Okay.
Being in that kind of situation. But tell me a bit more about that. That was difficult.
Yeah, it was really very
and it's difficult for any mother like that, any mother in that position, right?
Yes, it's very, very difficult because, you can't imagine when your child is in a class, maybe they are 17, and they're just complaining about your child. Every time it's just about your child, they are complaining, saying he did this, some odd things that you just wonder. And I said, what is wrong with my child? And, the thing about autism is that, you can't see that child outside and you say something is wrong with that child. The face is normal, the face is handsome, and does all the activities that the person can do, but it's just that there is something else. It can't stay stable, hyperactive, tantrums, not able to express. And when you're trying to get it, and once they see that you're trying to like get them to say something, and that's a difficult task for them.
The spark.
Yeah, they spark. And then you're just wondering, how am I going to teach this child? How is he going to understand? Because basically, when he brings his academic works and stuff, he's always like maybe coming last, like maybe last position or second to the last, and it wasn't something that...
And it's terrible that the schools don't even, the educational system in Nigeria does not accommodate, there's no understanding, there's no knowledge.
Yes, at that time.
Yeah, at that time.
That was at that 2003.
Okay, it's a lot better now.
Yeah, so for now, I think it's a lot better now. But my own concern is when there is so much knowledge, you tend to like leave everything for the knowledge. And then you forget that when God gives you a child, I think there's kind of an authority he has given to you as a mother or as a father.
To take responsibility.
Yes.
I'm going to come back to that. I'm coming there. But
Okay,
I'm just trying to get a picture how difficult. You couldn't take a job.
No, I couldn't. I was just doing something simple.
Yeah, you couldn't take a job.
I couldn't.
Because you had to you wanted to focus on getting him well.
Yes.
How difficult was that?
Okay, are you talking about my first
Yeah,
child?
well, not being able to get a normal job.
Yes, not being, it wasn't easy. It's just something that you have to, I think my main focus was because I was always focusing on God. And, there's something about when you focus everything in the hands of God. I think you just be kind of content, you have that kind of content, right? For whatever you have around you, you make use of it. But you are after, the human investment. Like this, a human is from God. So, there's nobody that can take that responsibility but for you.
For you.
Yes.
Okay, now your second son then began to exhibit the same symptom.
Yes. But, but for my second son, it was kind of milder, than him. And than your first child, yeah. But the only thing is that because basically the other one is 2 years older than him, they were not just expressing themselves.
Both of them?
Yes, they were not.
By age what?
From the age of 1 to 8, that was when my first child started expressing himself gradually. And then my second son was 6. That was when he started expressing himself.
So before then, they were not
They were not,
expressing themselves at all.
They were not. They would just do the things they want to do. But I knew they were always drawing, doing a lot of coloring, But then, I had to, try and get some things doing for them. Like my husband will help me maybe with the homeworks. And when he puts in the homework, trying to, repeat the questions we have had from previous things. So trying to express it for them. So that when they just go, it's just like you're trying to tell them, you see this? When you see this, this is what you're going to shade. So, but it wasn't easy. But we're just like playing around, but knowing that I think if my child is normal, that's what I was always saying. I said, if this child's face is normal, then there's nothing wrong with him. I think there's something that needs to bring him out, from that.
And then you had your third son.
Yes.
And his own was difficult. His own
in
was,
fact,
was
when
the worst.
when I had my third son, I was like, praise God. I mean, I said, oh, this child doesn't have any problem. At 2 years, I mean, if he would listen to whatever educational CD that you put for him, and he was really very, very intelligent at that time. And when I put him in a school, I think they gave him a promotion and said he won't be in the 2-year class, he will be in the 3-year class because he has already known. So, but suddenly at that 3+, he just started manifesting, like throwing tantrums. You can't hear him express himself in any way, very hyper, his own. I mean, if he wants to say something and he's not ready to be patient, he could just hit his head just to get your attention. And you won't hear anything from him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So so you wrote here that his own case was actually the worst of the three.
Yes.
It was a very difficult case.
It was very difficult.
And the teachers wanted him out of the school.
Yes.
Was it the one? Or
so
the
let
first
me.
one?
Yes. It was the third one.
Yeah.
But the thing that helped
And
him.
there was there was a day even that they put him in a bus.
Yes. That was when they.
And asked the boss to go and deliver him at home.
Yes.
Yeah, you wrote that here.
Yes. Yeah. They delivered him at home. Yes.
But and the other two boys were in school.
Yeah, they were in school.
They had improved by then.
Oh, they have improved. And then for my first two boys, it was when I was in the East, which you don't remember. But when I came to Lagos, that was when gradually I started knowing about autism. So I now saw the professional. I said, oh, she knows about it. So I was like, thank God that she knows about it. So, I mean, it made me more biased that, oh, okay, the people that know about it, she couldn't do anything for my child. So that was when I had to, get stronger faith that, oh, if I could do it for the first two, I think I can just mellow down. Even if I'm in Lagos City where, there's a lot of demand financially.
Financially, yes.
So I just had to
And your husband was not around, you wrote?
Yes, for my
He was overseas for masters or PhD or something?
Yes, for his master's.
So you were alone with the boys?
Especially with the third one.
The third one?
Yes.
I know that. Now, one thing central to your book is your faith. You were praying, you were fasting, you were quoting scriptures and trusting God for their healing. And you describe that as your chief strategy, as your main focus.
Yes.
You tied the healing, if we may use that expression, of your boys to that. And for me as a reader, you kept saying to me that no problem is too big to be solved by God. Yes. That's your main strategy.
Yes, of course.
Tell me a bit about that.
Okay. For my faith being, for my children to get healed, because I was focusing on God, because I just know that, even if I go to anybody, they will treat. Treatment is like you will be managing it. But with God, you get healing that you just forget that, there was anything, happening to you. So first of all, having faith is at the time I wasn't, you do it with gratitude. Because when you have such a child, there tends to be kind of a tendency that you will always be looking at depressed.
Yeah.
You yourself will even need the therapy for yourself.
Yes. It's that
but
difficult.
I found that once I go to God and He tells me things and tells me there's nothing is with time, I didn't know that actually, it was also working on my character. It made me to be more patient. It made me to be
stronger.
To be stronger, to be grateful, So at the time, I wasn't focusing on the problem. I was focusing on what is working. So sometimes I'll say, oh, if God made them to walk, I didn't know when they started walking. I didn't know when they started crawling. That means there's a timing for it.
They are all fine now.
Oh, they are all, absolutely. They've overgrown it.
That's a miracle.
They've outgrown it. Nothing is wrong.
The three of them now.
Yes, yeah.
And you have got a lovely picture of you and them. So yeah, they're back here. Okay. Now, okay, let me play the other guy's advocates. If you get what I mean. Now, reading this, one could think that, hey, she's saying that the only way to deal with this problem, you know, is by prayer, which is what you emphasized a lot in your book, you know. But I could see from here that you did a lot of practical things. One, you didn't get a job. You spent time with them. Your last boy who could draw, amazing drawing skills, you know, and all that. You devised this strategy of dancing with him while he was drawing.
Yes.
You know, right? Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, I did that.
You know, so some people think I don't read these books.
I'm surprised too.
I do have to.
Okay.
How do I talk to you without reading it?
Okay.
Okay. So, I mean, you danced with your boy.
Yes.
You know, you did a lot of things, practical things that I saw in here.
Yes.
You know, so I said to myself, okay, she's saying pray, but she wasn't just praying. She was praying and doing practical things to help the boys. Yes. Is that correct?
Yes, of course, yeah. So that's what I was doing. You know, while I was doing some certain things, especially I spent so much energy on my last kid, you know, because I mean, for him, I had to get, I wasn't like always thinking about the mental condition was in his mind. I was trying to get the heart connection, you know, and the heart connection, once you get the heart connection, it's automatically, you know, transforms, you know, that child. And by the time, you know, I mean, prayers and I just, in fact, I didn't just know when he just started expressing himself. I can't, even up till now, like when we are discussing, or he's talking about politics and, you know, what is happening, I just be like, wow.
You remember those days back? You just
no, like now,
just cast your mind back.
You know, he's 13 now. So when he's discussing with me or things, you know, he's doing what he wants to do, you know, sometimes when I remember, I said, I just don't know how, you know,
but
that
how
happened.
come you didn't know about autism in 2010? You had your first son in 2000. 2000. Mm-hmm. So you didn't know about autism until 2010.
Yes.
You had your boys by then.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, why? I was wondering, how come you didn't know anything about autism then?
You know, I was, where I was living in the East, that was in Aba. You know, that was where I raised my first two kids. You know, like the school they went to, virtually there was no awareness about that. Even the most popular schools, there was nothing, you know, talking about autism.
Didn't you seek medical help?
Because, I mean, even when I go to doctor, they will say, there's nothing, you know, wrong with them. Because, I mean, maybe they'll just say, oh, man, with time they will talk. Okay. That's just what. But, I mean, when I started, it was when I came into Lagos. I mean, Lagos is a way far ahead of the East. They are more, you know, their awareness
medically and in terms of awareness.
Yeah, the awareness is on the high rates. That
was
when I met.
Lagos that you...
Yes, so when I met that professional that had a school, and she started talking, and I started reading about it, I was like, oh wow, exactly all the symptoms. You know, that's what I was.
How critical was that for you? I mean, the knowledge, the information, getting to know about what autism. How critical was that for you in helping your boys?
Well, I can say it's just that when I read about it, the critical thing about it was when I got to see the positive side of the character of the child as the person is growing up, that they tend to be more focused, they pay attention to details, they are very intelligent. You know, I saw the negative, but I just focused on the positive. So whatever I was doing, you know, that was just what helped me to say, oh, I think, you know, this child, that's what I'm going to use and put through for him. Even when the lady failed me, on thinking that, I mean, she could be of help, for me, because at then I was ready to like, let me get a job, do the things I want to do. But when I saw it, I said, no, I can't just leave my child. I mean, if I have, done it for my first 2 kids, then why not him? But his own was very difficult. But I had to like try and read some books, get in. But in this kind of thing, I think it's not all knowledge that will work for your child. Different ones can work for different individuals. So that was why I put in this book to encourage parents that, I mean, you need to be down for your kids, even if they are in a center that is helping them out. Make sure that you're on the same level. You're knowing whether it's right for your child. Is this one okay for my child? Because just like as children, they have different talents and potentials. One treatment can be all right for everybody. So that's what I found out. So even when that lady told me that, oh, okay, I need to give him a medication, I said no. No, because I mean, if I give him medication, that means his brain is going to, is going to be dull. All you want him to do is just to be sitting quiet in the class. I said, no, I'd rather see him move around, do all the activities he wants to do, with all his energy and, wear it out and sleep than, trying to keep him calm. And he will not learn. All what that medicine is going to do is just to keep him calm. And at the end of the day, as the person grows, the person won't be able to learn again.
I gave this to a medical doctor to read.
Okay.
Somebody who is into mental health.
Okay.
And he was supposed to be here with us.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
he couldn't make it.
I think that would have added a lot of, different angles to it. But it's been great having this chat with you, Ugo.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for writing this.
Okay.
And thanks for being a hero. Yeah, people like you are heroes.
To God be the glory. Okay, so...
And congrats on the breakthrough you had with your boys.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, my name is Deji Jemiyo. The title of this book is The 7 Dimensions of a 7-Star Professional. Achieve accelerated and sustained career success. So I'm going to read chapter 7 of the book. This chapter talks about the political dimension. And let me start with this quote. The quote states, "Just because you do not take an interest in politics doesn't mean politics won't take an interest in you." So, after leaving school, many high flyers are thrilled by the prospect of working for a big company, probably a multinational. They are fascinated by the enormous opportunities available and are over the moon when they pick up the appointment letter, with vivid imagination of a bright future. However, after a few years, this initial enthusiasm dwindles, with some getting completely sidetracked. After repeatedly watching colleagues with lower qualifications and seemingly less knowledge getting ahead, they become disenchanted and gradually suffer a decline in their productivity. I recently met with one who remarked, "I can't stand all the office politics in this organization. It is not what you know, but rather it is who you know. If you don't belong to the right cabal, you won't be promoted or deployed on big projects." This actually led Aristotle to proclaim, "Man is by nature a political animal."
Thank you for watching. As always, we'll be delighted to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. I'm Olakunle Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.